Don't be a stranger in the night. Take a chance for some romance. Don't cover your eyes. Willow trees know you better than anyone else. It's time you let your guard down. For someone like me, I'd say I'm settled and pretty calm. I don't storm in the storm. If not me, then someone like me knows what to do and how to take care of you. Most all.
Hi everyone, I am home from Rhinebeck. It has been a busy couple of weeks and I'm excited to sit down and chat with you guys and talk to you about everything that's been going on. I'm not going to be doing a major Rhinebeck recap episode. There's a lot of fantastic podcasters that do a much better job at that than I do. I know Cabin Boy Knits was there and he's going to be doing it. Earth Tones Girl will have one. Woolen Forest will have one. There were a great group of podcasters there, so take a look around if you want to see everything that went on at Rhinebeck. I was mostly hiding behind the Prado de Lana booth and helping out there. So I'll definitely tell you some about my last couple of weeks. But the first thing I wanted to mention is for those of you who signed up for the tea swap, the tea and herbs holiday swap, all of the groups have been chosen and are on the Ravelry group with Ninja Chickens. There are a few people who haven't gone in to check yet, so if you don't know what group you're a part of, please go check. We need to get our herbs and teas out by November 10th, so if you'll take a look at the Ravelry group and find your name there, you should have been tagged in a group. And it's amazing, we have 3 European groups, 1 Canadian group, and 7 or 8 US groups, which is fabulous. So I'm so excited and I hope you guys end up having a really lovely December because of it. It's such a treat to open a little goodie every morning. A tea that you can sit down and take a breath and calm yourself down with before you start the day. Or some herbs that you can throw in your dinner, whatever. It just seems so nice. So I'm excited about it. Okay, so what have I been up to? Well, I taught a class at one of the local, what's called Local Cloth. It's a fiber arts studio here in Asheville, and it went amazingly well. I really loved it. Everybody had a great time, and I think I have a couple of things that I made there. So let me grab that. I want to show you. So one of the things that we did was eco-printing on napkins, like dinner napkins, and so we did using one of the napkins as your blanket. And this is one. I absolutely love how this one came out. This bright yellow leaf right here is Vitex, or chasteberry it's called, and I think it looks fabulous. This was a red sassafras leaf that kind of went greenish blue. There's some maples on there. And this cool heart-shaped one was actually a morning glory leaf that I found across the street. Well, the morning glory vine I found. So that was a lot of fun. And we also talked a bit about slow fashion related to just how you treat your own body and the things that you put in it and on it. And we decided to do some pillowcases, and it was a fun process of just putting more plants and folding again and more plants and folding again. Just really random so that they could just put stuff down and have fun as opposed to feeling like it had to be the perfect piece of artwork. And this is what I came up with. There's more sassafras, all those big spots of greenish and yellowish. Those are onion skins. And then there's lots of little spots, and you can see them all over, where, let's see, this is a nice one. Hibiscus left a pink and purple kind of spot, but also bleached out around the edges, and I love the way that looks. So yeah, that class was really fun. Mars came up from Florida to attend the class, and she's been wanting to take an eco-printing class for a while, so it was really amazing to have her here. She's also so funny. She's such a mother. You know, she's taking the class, but she keeps showing up with little glasses of water and snacks for me so that I get myself fed and watered during the class. So that was wonderful. And then I took off and headed over to Massachusetts, where I hung out with Amanda and Alberto and their 2 awesome kids. And they are Prado de Lana, who I've talked about before. I wanted to go there for a longer period of time than just Rhinebeck because they are tomorrow having the grand opening for their store in Stockbridge. So I thought if they could use me to help, you know, stock the shelves or count inventory or whatever, that would be amazing. So we spent most of the week either preparing for Rhinebeck, at Rhinebeck, or getting their store ready. And their store is so cute. It has so many big, beautiful windows, so there's great sunlight coming in. It's one of those towns that, it reminds me of some European towns where you're walking along the main street, but if you look to the side, the alleyways always have stuff down them. So this Stockbridge, little town in Massachusetts, along the main street, there's, you know, lots of cute little stores and hotels and restaurants. But if you look down the alleyways, there are more things. So she's down an alleyway, and and so there's, on the left, the Prado de Lana store, and if you look out the main big window, you see the entrance door to Alice's restaurant. Now some of you will have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm not, I'm old enough that I remember the movie. I have seen the movie and I remember the song. I think the song came out in 1967 and the movie came out in 69. So it was before I was born, but I remember it, and I remember hearing it at Thanksgiving when it would get played. But it's a silly 18-minute song by Arlo Guthrie, who talks about a true event where he went to visit his friend Alice and her husband Rob, I think was his name. Anyway, he went to visit them over Thanksgiving for dinner, and instead he and his friend offered to take the trash out after dinner, and the trash bin was locked, so they tossed it in a ravine. And the next morning they were both arrested for littering. And long story short, because of that arrest, he couldn't get drafted for the Vietnam War. So it's he calls it a great massacre, and I always thought he was mispronouncing the word massacre, but apparently that word means a story that you can't believe unless you're a part of it, because there's so many crazy events that happen to get to the end point. So Arlo Guthrie wrote an 18-minute song about, in general, about this happening, and then it was made into a movie. Well, directly across, 5 steps across from their entrance is the entrance to Alice's restaurant, which, one, is just super cool historically, but also really cool because people keep coming down the alleyway over and over again to see and take selfies with this door. The restaurant's not open right now, although the people who own the restaurant in the front of the building are thinking about reopening it, which would be super cool. But it's a great location. So yeah, I picked up a bunch of stuff from her. Well, as far as Rhinebeck, I helped. It was their first year at Rhinebeck, and they had a great location. It was a nice big stall, and the setup was beautiful. And if you don't know Prado de Lana, they have 60 sheep of Romney CVM, which is the colored version of Romeldale, and Lincoln Longwool. So 2 of those are, well, they're all heritage breeds, but 2 of them are considered rare and endangered breeds, the Lincoln Longwool and the CVM. So all of their yarns are breed specific, sometimes sheep specific, which is really nice because if you have a skein of yarn, you get not just what breed it is specifically from, but what sheep it's from. And it's just been really cool to live vicariously through them, to see the sheep grow, to watch lambing season, I've helped a couple times with the shearing, which has been really amazing. And they know everybody's name. Like, Amanda goes out in the field and she feeds them and can call each one of them out by name. Like, 100 feet away, she'll know, oh, that's Lacey. You know, she's the goofball of the flock, or whatever. She knows them all, which is super cool. So their stall at Rhinebeck was just this gorgeous neutrals. You know, there were cream and white and dark browns and light browns and grays and all kinds of really beautiful colors of neutral shade, because all of their sheep, all of their wool is undyed. She has done some natural dyeing with it before, but currently it's all undyed. And she has these really cute bags with one of the sheep's faces on it, and it was just a beautiful setup. So I had a lot of fun standing behind the booth and just chatting about the sheep and what I know about them, and yeah, and I think they did really well, which is super cool. So if you were there and came up to say hi, thank you so much. It was so wonderful to meet all of you and give you big hugs, and I had a really nice time. So I want to show you some of what I got there. It's not really a haul, an acquisitions haul. I got 2 bars of soap and some dye, and that's it really. And then I grabbed a bunch of stuff from Amanda's store before I left. But the dye I wanted to show you, let me take it out of the bag. There was one shop there called Loop of the Loom, and I believe they're from New York. And yeah, New York City. And they were selling Japanese mud dyes. And I tried really hard to walk past the booth because I knew if I went in there, I was gonna fall down a new rabbit hole of natural dyeing and want to learn more about it. But I turned and I started talking, and I ended up with some dyes. So I got, I had to get some small ones because all of this had to be carry-on. So it's called Bengala dye, and let me show you the colors. So these are the 3 bottles that I got. This one right here is going to produce a pinkish. This one right here will produce gray, and this one's going to be a greenish. And they are all produced with muds from Japan. So it is a mud that is mixed with, so ingredients, so for the green one, the ingredients is an iron oxide from the soil, mud from the soil that has iron in it, water, and natural rubber latex. That's it. The one that's gray has also titanium dioxide from the earth, and the one that is red has iron oxide from the soil, natural rubber latex, and water. So it's basically like they gather clay from certain areas that has certain pigments in it, and they make a dye out of it. And the cool thing that they were telling me about this, and that really drew me in, is that you don't need heat and you don't need a mordant. So because there's iron in there, I'm imagining that will self-mordant. But the heat thing, it's not, so it can't be a chemical bond that you need heat to cause that reaction. And what she said is it's more like magnetic. So it sounds kind of like indigo. So I want to research it more and figure out how this works. Is it just a physical bond that they hold on to each other because of what's in it? I don't know, but I'm excited to try these out. So if you're interested, it's called Eco Dye Colors from the Earth, Bengala, B-E-N-G-A-L-A. And I got them from Loop of the Loom. I've already got the soap in the shower, so I can't show you the soap, but I like handmade soaps. They feel, I don't know, once you've had a hard day, you've worked hard, you're ready to wash off the stress or the sweat, whatever, it feels nice to have a handmade soap in the shower. So, what I did bring back from Prado de Lana, I actually didn't bring back, I actually had to ship it because there was so much. But, let me show you. The first thing I got is Sweater Guy. This is the Sweater Guy bag. His name was Sweater Guy because he produced such a beautiful big white fleece. He was a big fluffy Romney, who is the perfect sheep for that video, that cartoon video where someone's walking slowly and you hear the music, you know what I'm talking about? That's Sweater Guy. He was such a little goof. So there's this gorgeous bag, and inside, I mean, it's super well made, but inside it's really big, and there's a pocket. So, I mean, this could basically be a purse if I wanted it to be my purse instead of a bag, but I'm gonna have to get started with something, cast something on to put it in here. The next thing I found that I really wanted to try was, I don't know that Amanda's always been doing roving. I feel like she's had it recently, but I saw the roving that was there and I picked up a couple of them. I've got a little over 4 ounces, I guess. And this is Romney roving from Apple the sheep, and it's super soft. And I've always loved spinning Romney. I feel like it's one of those that spins itself. It's got enough of a little grasp to it that you just have to kind of keep it even, and it goes in and just spins itself up. And I also grabbed a little bit of white from, I can't remember his name. It's another Romney sheep. So I have to get that on the wheel soon. I don't have anything on the wheel right now, but I really want to spin up some grays and then dye over it, do some natural dyeing over it. One of the shops that Amanda is carrying in her shop, one of the companies, is called Belair Orchards, and they have CVM, which I really love that fleece. It's super soft and squishy, and again spins really well. So I grabbed 2 bags, so a total of 4 ounces, but there's 4 different colors. I switched up the colors. There's a light gray, a dark gray, a brown, and a dark brown, if you can see those colors. And those are all pure Rhinebeck, or CVM. So it's called California Variegated Mutant, CVM, but that's such an awful name. They should just call them colored Rhinebeck's. But I don't know. I wouldn't want to be called a mutant if I was a sheep. So that's some more roving that I got. And then I picked up lots of yarn. I saw Heidi Kiermaier had just come out with a vest called the Prado vest that she knit in Prado de Lana yarn. She has many beautiful patterns. If you don't know of her, you should check her out on Ravelry. I mark so many of them as favorites because they're just kind of classic knits. There's nothing super flamboyant or anything about them. They're just like everyday knits that would be the favorite to pull out of your closet if you were ready to wear something. And when I saw that, I knew I had to knit it. I want to knit it for both Toby and Leaf. Leaf is a vest guy. He likes wearing knitted vests to keep him warm. And I think it would help Toby out too, because he's usually chilly, so I think having a vest on his core would help him warm up in the winter, so I'm going to be knitting it for both of them. Leaf chose a white yarn, and this is called Duende, and it is made with, let me see, I wrote it down on one of these. Deb, D, Duncan, Dobby, and Dumbledore. That was the D year that they were born, and so it's just a white worsted yarn that is super luscious and scrumptious. So these are Romney, and it's lamb's wool, so it's really soft. So Leaf wants me to knit him a vest, and then he wants to dye over it. He's thinking, he said he thought teal would be nice, so maybe we'll use the rest of those kasugi berries and see if we can get a nice teal color out of it. And then Toby doesn't know he's getting one, but I thought it would be fun to try to knit this also to put under the tree this year. So I got him Amistad, which is Abigail, Ignaz, Felicity, and Charlie. And this is also Romney, but this is a marled yarn. And I want to knit it up like this and then see what color he might want to dye over it, because I think this would be really cool as a dyed yarn. I have a hard time visualizing what marled will look like. When I look at it in the skein, I feel like something knit up is going to look the same, and I don't necessarily want something that looks marled. But I saw a sweater that Amanda was wearing that had a marled yarn in it, and it was absolutely beautiful. I loved the way it knit up, so I think this is going to be really cool as a vest. So I grabbed these to make a vest for Toby. And then I also got my virtual shepherd yarn. So I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, but I'm a virtual shepherd for Prado de Lana, and what that means is it's kind of like being a patron. I give a certain amount each month to support their flock and their farm, and in return, and I get to choose which sheep I follow. So I followed Casey, of course, because she's the one that I got to bottle feed and I saw when she was only 2 weeks old. And so Casey is a CVM Romney mix, and I think, Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was a fence breakout one time that caused the CVM Romney mix. I don't know that there was necessarily going to be a mix of CVM Romney. I think it just happened that way, and Casey and her sister Corey were born. So this is Casey and Corey, and it's super soft and squishy. And it was really fun getting to see Casey. She's so big now. She was such a tiny little sheep when I first met her, so it's good to see that she's flourishing. But yes, so the virtual shepherd is something where you get to choose which sheep you follow, and you get updates, videos, newsletter reports, just how they're doing. You might get a picture during shearing of how they're doing, or, you know, see when they're getting their vaccinations and having their hooves trimmed. Like, you see the day-to-day of what happens with your sheep, which is super cool. And then at the end of the year or after shearing season, you'll get some yarn or something from your sheep. So if you have any interest in that and you aren't able to have your own flock, then it's a really neat way to be a part of it. So yeah, I picked up a lot of roving and yarn from Prado de Lana, but I'm glad I did, because I always want it, and it's just beautiful yarn. The other thing that I got when I was at Rhinebeck was courtesy of Nell Knits, who brought me a massive bag of onion skins, because she knows I natural dye, and this is going to make some really beautiful yellows. So thank you, Nell. It's great when your friends know to collect their kitchen scraps for you so you can use them later. So let's see. So when I got home from Rhinebeck, one thing that I found was this massive box that, so my friend Elizabeth, who's Atlasphere on Instagram, she had texted me and asked if I had any interest in a Wensleydale fleece. She said she'd started processing it, but that she just wasn't getting to spinning it, and would I be interested? And I said, sure. I'd always love another fleece. So she sent me a queen size comforter bag full of this gorgeous fleece. If you guys know Wensleydale, the locks are long and curly, and this one is a gray fleece with little specks of brown in it. So let me show you, actually. I'll bring some over so you can see it. So here is the fleece, or part of it anyway. You see that beautiful color. There's like golden brown and grays in there, and these are all the long locks. So, and then some of it she'd already started processing. This has been cleaned and carded and is ready to spin. So I'm hoping to spin some of this up and then over dye it with some natural colors. When you over dye something, or you dye over a colored fleece, it just really deepens the depth of the color. So if I were to do, red madder root on top of a white fleece, then I'm going to get more of a cherry red. But if I do it over this gray, it would just have a lot more depth to it. Maybe be a brick red or something. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really beautiful. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. So thank you very much, Elizabeth. The only other thing I wanted to tell you about before I show you the little bit of knitting that I've gotten done is that I'm going to be at 2 different holiday shops in the next couple of months. I'm going to be at EcoView Fiber Mill for their Makers Market. That's on November 16th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And all vendors there are donating a percentage of their profits to Beloved Asheville, which is a local nonprofit that helps with equality and justice and just bettering the community for all, for minorities, for marginalized people, for children, for people in poverty. It's a really amazing group. So I'm excited to be a part of that. And then from November 29th to December 21st, I'm going to have my stuff at the holiday pop-up shop at Asheville Social Hall, and that happens every year. In fact, I think they have it in the spring too, but it's basically the vendors bring their things and leave them there. So for 3 weeks, there's kind of like a little pop-up store. So I'll have the indigo dyed napkins there that you guys have seen on Instagram, and I'll have some of my eco-printed silks and cards and lots of other things. So if you're in the neighborhood, then that will be a physical place where you can actually go and get my stuff. So, cool. All right. The only thing I have to show you for knitting is my Cora crop. I'm getting there. Now that it is no longer summer weather. I have the back finished. So I knit this all according to the instructions, except that on the bind off for the neck, I did an I-cord, a 2-stitch I-cord. And that's the same thing that the designer, Rachel, actually did for her personal version of this. And I liked the way it looked on her, so I repeated that. And then this is where I am on the front. But really, once the front is done, it's just picking up for these little cap sleeves and putting those on. So it's not too much more, but hopefully I can get this done soon. I might be able to wear it a little in the fall over a long sleeve shirt. And it's been a super simple pattern to knit. I've had no problems with it. It's really easy. I think you could probably do it and have, you know, a beautiful wool version of that. This one is cotton and bamboo. So it's more of a summer top, but it would look beautiful in wool. And then hopefully I can get started on the vests and that sweater that I wanted to knit for myself that I'm going to kind of design as we go. But I think that's it. All right. I hope you guys are doing amazingly well. I'm headed next weekend to Columbus, Ohio for Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus. And I'm going to be teaching 2 eco-printing classes and 2 natural dye classes. And then I'll be doing it again in New York, the same 2 classes. So if you're in or near New York, I think it's the weekend of January 17th. I'll be doing some classes there too. We'll have eco-printing on silk, eco-printing on sock blanks, and then natural dyeing 101 for the complete beginner, and herbs and plants that can be used for food, medicine, dye, and fiber. So it's going to be great. All right, have a fabulous next couple of weeks, and I'll chat with you guys soon. Bye.